ancient Mesopotamian times and reaching next and beyond all over the world, the Kafiye constitutes a rare and noteworthy platform for a rich study in identity, design, and material culture. My fascination with the topic keeps on growing. How one designed object can be the subject of so much analysis and layering, and touch on so many different topics and issues. The Kafiye is the strongest symbol to come out of the contemporary Arab world. My thesis was dedicated to explain why that is, by setting the scene, tracing it back to its roots, and establishing a contemporary definition and context. Treading the realms of street, politics, traditional garb, trends, and catwalks, the Kafiye has transcended form and various functions to become more than just a simple item, but an experience even. Its influence lies in its power to adapt, evolve, exchange, and integrate. It is practical and was created so, as it keeps heads and faces protected from the desert and harsh sun. Traditional, it's still worn by local men in the Gulf up until today. Political, a symbol representing the Palestinian struggle. Revolutionary, a powerful icon used, hopefully, for change. Trendy, a popular fashion accessory. But really, where did this item come from, and how did it get to represent all these various things? The first pattern of the Kafiye can be traced back to early Sumerian times, or the first civilizations in what is known today as Iraq. When high priests wore white from head to toe, for more prosperous fishing seasons, they used to place the fishing nets on top of their heads. And that's where the patterns originated from. And the name of the Kafiye originates from the city of al-Kufa in Iraq. And because of its simple abstract pattern that was non-representative, it became popular and was continued during Islamic times. And it was fashionable since then in the region. I mean, it was not introduced as a fashion item in the West. It was actually fashionable since then, and local men, they have different colors, weaving techniques, and a whole range of prices, some of them really, really expensive, just to have handmade kafiyas today in the Arab world. A traditional Bedouin headdress, it arrived to rural areas in Palestine and was worn by the villager peasants. And the late 30s uprising against the British, all of that changed when the Kafiye was adopted by both townspeople and villagers alike to hide the rebels' identities, replacing the once popular Turkish tarbush in Palestine. It was only with the rise of Arafat in the 60s when the black and white Kafiye moved beyond its functionality to become an icon synonymous with Palestine worldwide. He was never seen without it, especially when he made public appearances, and worked in a specific proprietary way to represent the map of Palestine. No longer confined to the cloth, the Kafiye became a pattern representing a struggle as a concept. Its journey beyond this point is explosive. It spread all over the world, comparable to the Che Guevara logo. It started appearing in various subculture groups, both in the Arab world and in the West. Anti-war, anti-government, and leftist organizations used it as an emblem, and it was part of urban streetwear. In 2007, it arrived to the catwalk and got appropriated in high fashion by French designer Nicolas Guesquière of Balenciaga, and it really became a must-have accessory, starting what was known here in the US as the Kafiye craze. And the picture to the left also is, it was used in a Dior fashion show, a male Dior fashion show also after that. The power of the Kafiye is apparent in all its extensions, shapes, and forms. On one hand, it has been used as a terrorist representation in Western pop culture and films, and on the other, it has appeared in music videos, fashion must-have lists, and worn by celebrities all over the world, all the while still representing Palestinians and their struggle in various political art forms. It is polyvalent. Its design is so potent that it fuses and merges meanings and symbols that can open up a wide discourse on identity and culture. If we look at the pure geometric pattern, it is still present and recognizable up until today. The early Mesopotamian weavers, they were inspired by nature and their surroundings. So it was a fishing net that was then weaved into the white background, or the white cloth. And then originally in early Mesopotamian times, it also had abstractions from the sea, mainly shells and fish, that were then lost with time, and the pure geometric pattern was kept. If we take a look at the visual narrative of the Kafiye, the borders have repetitive triangles, all surrounded by one big plate. And this is also interesting because it could be tied back to its use during Palestinian times in the late 30s, when the Kafiye did wipe out personal identity for the greater good. It was used as a mask to hide the faces of the rebels. Everyone wore it, made everyone unrecognizable, so their personality was hidden. If we look at the middle cluster of the design, and I wanted to compare it, for example, to the American flag or the stars that represent the separate states, the Kafiye, on the other hand, looks almost like a linked society. Each circle represents an individual that could look like they're creating a fence that no one could break through, which means it makes it a really strong visual design, very symmetrical, extremely sturdy. And even though it's just a cloth, it seems almost as hard as a rock. It is understandable why people could be intimidated by it and why it would be such a powerful symbol. Due to its highly approachable and recognizable design, the Kafiye has integrated daily life almost naturally, even here in the West, and it is quite a surprise for an item that is supposed to be revolutionary and controversial. And here in the West, the Kafiye has become kind of an umbrella, which means that similar patterns, whether they're checkered, houndstooth, or any repetitive icon, I mean, I've seen Hello Kitty Kafiyes, or being named as Kafiyes. So all of these have been grouped together as Kafiyes. An example of this is, you might know, Rachel Ray controversy that happened when she was filming a Dunkin' Donuts ad. Actually, what she is wearing is just a checkered black and white scarf, but it had a lot of radical voices screaming out in horror that it was a Kafiye and hate couture, and Dunkin' Donuts had to take the ad off air. So basically, all these designs seem too close to comfort, and this confusion seems to be mirrored kind of in the confusion towards the Arab world and the West's identification with the Arab world in general. A bit about the Arab world. It is a vast region that spreads from the Atlantic Ocean to the Arabian Sea, encompassing some 19 countries and over 300 million people. The one main thing that the Arab states have in common is that Arabic is their official language. Now, understandably, identity is a struggle for the Arabs and the Arab world. I mean, here, for a very long time, Arab stereotypes have tainted popular culture. And in what is known as the 3 Bs, especially in films, which are, Arabs have been portrayed as belly dancers, bombers, and billionaires. And after 9/11, the concept of the Arab terrorist has grown. And that is basically what has been taken over. So actually, Arab identity is very hard to define, both in the Arab world and outside of the Arab world. So it's often misconstrued. So finding contemporary, unstereotypical visual clues to classify Arabs is virtually impossible. They don't really exist. Well, at least the common one doesn't. So an example of this, or a need for this, would be to look at, for example, the Arabic icon on the Mac computer, which is a crescent. The crescent is not really, and has nothing to do really with the Arab kind of identity. It is something related to the Ramadan feast for Muslims, or that's how it's used. And this also brings up another point of confusion in the West, which seems to be between the concept of Arab, which is an ethnicity, and Muslim, which is a religion. Although many Arabs follow the Muslim faith, both these terms are not synonymous. Arabs constitute only about roughly 20% of Muslims in the world, the majority found in Asia and countries like Indonesia. Quoting Jean Baudrillard, he said, "To understand the hatred of the rest of the world against the West, perspective must be reversed. The hatred of non-Western people is not based on the fact that the West stole everything from them and never gave anything back. Rather, it is based on the fact that they received everything, but were never allowed to give anything back. This hatred is not caused by dispossession or exploitation, but rather by humiliation." And actually, the Kafiye, or the platform of the Kafiye, offers a perfect opportunity moving forward. I mean, a kafiye really could be anything. That what we want it to be, we can create a really loud message, and we only lose the real core of the kafiye when the misappropriation is louder than that message. So far, this has not happened, as we can see. Yet there is still confusion and noise around the subject, and it is now a crucial time to make sure that this symbolism is preserved in the future and used to open up discourse. And moving forward, the Kafiye project will be continued online as a platform for discourse and on design and promoting the social design debate on the Arab world, in the West and in the Arab world. So please, I hope you will log into the website. It will be online in the next couple of months and to take this forward. Thank you.
Congratulations. What an interesting subject. And to your point about the idea that that all Arabs are the same, let alone Arabs and Muslims being equivalent. When I went this morning to make sure I knew how to pronounce Kafiye, on the little audio site that I went to on the web, they had an Egyptian woman pronouncing it Kafiye. So there you go.
Exactly. Actually, it's really interesting because it has many names in the Arab world already. So in the Arab world, the literal Arabic, or what is read and written, is common. And the spoken Arabic is different. So within the spoken Arabic, like Palestinians call it the Hatta. In the Gulf states, they call it Shmagh. And the Kafiye...
Really, like Shmata, almost.
Shmagh. So basically, the kufiya is the literal word for it.
And does the fact, I was thinking as I was listening to you and watching the images, the Kafiye is not such a present icon or fashion item, let's say, in Iran. Is that because Iran is not Arab?
Yes.
One of the most interesting things, parts of your argument seems to me, is this, thinking back to Peter Hall's commodification of dissent, the rise of the Kafiye as this fashion fetish object, this marketing tool. What do you think about that? How problematic is that in terms of entirely mixing the political, very serious and indeed properly controversial political iconography with this purely style fetish iconography?
Well, the thing is that what's interesting about this item specifically is that all these things happen at the same time. Even if we look at historically and traditionally in the Arab world, I mean, the item was never originally political. It became political, yet still at the same time. In the Gulf states, people wear it as a fashion item between the males themselves. So they might have ones that are actually done, customized for them. Really rich people do them with golden threads, etc. So although a lot of people scream out in horror when they see that this has become such a fashion, a marketing, people are using it, the production has moved to China, I just believe this could be used as an opportunity for discourse. It's out there, let's use it. Definitely we will lose if all the meanings and all the symbolism and everything just falls back to just the cover of the fashion, and it just becomes maybe 10 or 20 years down the line, no one knows where it comes from, no one knows what it is, and they all just have it, and it's nice, it's a nice scarf. Yes, who would have lost then? It would have been really a big tragedy, but I think that I don't mind it being this spread. I think that we should use that as an opportunity, because already in its nature, it is like that. It's something that is used as a fashionable item. It has tradition, it has heritage, and yet it's also a political symbol at the same time.
The dialectical process of the transforming signification, I guess, to completely plunge into academic jargon. Have you ever worn one?
Yes.
In this country?
Yes.
How does that go?
I think it depends how and where you wear it. I think that's also another thing. I mean, I interviewed a lot of people in my process, and I mean, if you're a pretty girl wearing a kafia, you're cool. But if you're a guy that kind of has a big beard wearing the kafia,
you change subway cars. Right. Yeah. Hala, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I believe Will Myers is our next presenter.